How about now, boys and girls?
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you now.
Can you? All right. Let's wait and see if the chat can hear us. That's interesting. Can you guys hear us?
Oh, okay. See, other people weren't also. Imagine they did the whole podcast.
All right, we got a thumbs up. I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on with the streams, but it seems like we're back and we're good. So we'll take it. I'm Andrew Badal. That's Juice Springsteen. This is Drew and Juice. We're live. I was supposed to be in Toronto this weekend. I want to thank WWE for inviting me. I have some family things I need to take care of. There's a daddy-daughter dance. There's a lot of things going on that I don't know that I could miss, but I want to thank them for the opportunity to cover Elimination Chamber. But I'm excited for the Chamber. We're going to talk about that here tonight. We're going to talk about all the news.
Your mic cut out again, Drew.
How is this even humanly possible? How is this even humanly possible?
Not only are you not going to Elimination Chamber, but they might have cut your mic off too. And who knows if they can even hear me at this point.
I could hear you.
Oh, okay. I can hear you now.
I feel like you're messing with me, man. I don't have time to be messing
Drew,
with.
Do you really think I would try to mess up a live show that
all right, Steven said he could hear it
specific time?
Steven said he could hear us both, so I'm just gonna roll with it. You're a little delayed on my end. So what we will do
That's fine.
Is we'll roll with the show as is. But again, we're gonna talk everything in the world of professional wrestling, entertainment. Yeah, so let's do it. Juice, a little bit of a clunky intro here. I don't know if the internet
you're back to being muted again, Drew.
I
promise.
It's got to be you because the chat is saying that they could all hear me.
I know, but and you start talking, and then at some points you just cut out, and then you come back. And look, someone did say Drew and Junk, which is great. But they keep saying they can still hear both of us, which that's interesting. So it is what it is. I don't know. I have everything set up exactly the way it needs to be. We have a pretty rinky-dink show here as is, but we've been going for 8 weeks strong, and I feel like this is only the first true audio issue. So I'm really not.
I just listened to it back on YouTube, but it's got to be you, buddy. So we're just gonna have to roll with it. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'll do the best that I can. And if we get to a point where I can't come in, if you're not hearing me, I will continue to work on this and make sure we get back.
Ben and Brian and Catherine have said that Drew is not dropping out. All right, I'm not doing the intro again. We're live for Drew and Juice.
Yeah, we're here. We're already here. We might just keep running with the show, see how it goes, and fix what we need to fix along the way. This is like Monday Night Raw, or just Raw. Actually, they don't even call it Monday Night anymore, which you kind of alluded to, as they might run Raw on other nights on Netflix, because why does it matter? Where if this is live, so if things mess up, it's live, pal. So we'll just figure it out. We'll roll with it. It's not a big deal. I was gonna shave my head bald and go to Toronto and try to get your credentials, but it's okay. I'll watch it on my couch.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, do you think I want to cut off my luscious locks just to go to the chamber?
Last time I saw you, I don't know if you had luscious locks. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not doing the beard thing. I can't do it to the extent that it was before. It was disgusting.
Does it just not grow in right?
It grows. This grows in all. Like I had it where this was just the goatee was going, but like it's gross.
All right. Anyway,
so I went back to normal adult, shave. So
okay. All right.
Well, look, I'm trying to maintain whatever I can before it gets to be gray, and I have to make that ultimate decision of should I dye it or leave it natural like you.
I mean, I got a little bit of gray in here. It's a lot of black.
Right. But the gray's right prominently centered. That's my biggest fear.
Why? It's beautiful.
Because there's no way I can hide it. I know I will embrace it. My dad embraces his gray hair, but
All right. Enough about the hair. I don't have any on the top of my head. Juice, what do you want to lead with, buddy?
Oh man, well I feel like we can close with Elimination Chamber, ins and outs. There's quite a bit of things going on this weekend in Toronto. Okay. We can go back and forth. I've got quite a interesting list here.
Sure, let's do it.
So there was the Chris Van Vliet interview with Lex Luger today. I want to kind of kick things off with that. I thought it was wonderful, and just the biggest highlight, of course, that I saw a lot of places aggregating and putting out there was, should Lex Luger go into the WWE Hall of Fame? And I think it's more of a when and not if at this point.
Right.
And DDP, who's helped rehab countless pro wrestlers. And that's right. Gray is a sign of wisdom. He's the Sage Drew. But Lex Luger brought up, hey, if DDP's helped me out with this, but if it's not this year, it will happen if it's meant to happen. And he's very honest and open with his life after all the struggles that he's gone throughout his life, the successes, the failures, a lot of problems over the last 20 years, and now, confined to a wheelchair. However, lifted up. So Drew, I mean, ultimately, I want to see him get inducted into the Hall of Fame purely to see him walk across that stage. So what are your thoughts as Lex Luger as a whole, as we start off with a little classic?
Lex was for a lot of things, in my opinion, Lex was ahead of his time in WCW, like back when he was NWA and everything else like that. There was a lot of Lex that I think that that time period wasn't ready for. The big muscle bound, I know like Hogan was very prevalent at that time, but that was kind of like the first real crack at a muscle bound person that was over, like super over. I know there was superstar Billy Graham and everything else like that, but even Billy Graham was ahead of his time. He really was.
Sure.
So for me, I think Lex was ahead of his time in the NWA, and then came to WWF, and unfortunately, I felt like he was dealt the next Hulk Hogan hand, and that I never felt like that was going to fit for Lex.
No.
And you want to know what? I don't know. I have a lot of respect for Lex. Lex did a lot for the business. I think Lex is probably going to be most famously remembered for the night he jumped to WCW on Nitro.
Yep. First Nitro. Yep. Mall of America.
And I would probably say that he's probably also going to be remembered for the biggest what if in professional wrestling, because I think that there was a slight chance that Lex was going, and I should say it was more than slight, but Lex was going to be the world champion coming out of WrestleMania 10, and he kind of effed that up. And then
we weren't there. We don't know.
And then we saw the the real rise of Bret the Hitman Hart. So I mean, realistically, I mean it was fine for me. But I'm going to say that Lex will be remembered for being one of the first. First of all, his physique was unbelievable, but I would say he was one of the first major defectors to WCW from the WWF.
I mean, yeah, the Monday Night Wars kick off with a guy that WWE thought they still had under contract, and it was going to be fine. We got him. We got a house show with him on Sunday. He won't show up. He won't show up Monday night, and then what the hell is he doing here?
Yeah, that line is just iconic. What the hell is he doing here?
Yeah,
get the camera off him.
He kind of just stoically looks, and all of a sudden he's thrust into the program with Hogan initially, and then he pals up with Sting and goes back and forth. But he gets the first true big victory against the NWO at Starrcade 96. The following year, in between the Sting, Crow angle, he wins the world title on the 100th episode of Nitro, which, beating Hogan clean, like that doesn't happen. And it happened in a building that SummerSlam 93 was in, where he should have won the world title and not won by countout. And 4 years later, they're again at the Palace at Auburn Hills, and he, does it anyway. So
I think Vince, in the back of his mind, for some reason, Vince gets a lot of shit, obviously now, and rightfully so, for what he did.
Yeah.
No pun intended. I had to throw that in there. No pun intended.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to let it go.
But I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, someone's going to make the joke. So might as well be me. No pun intended. And I think that he called right on Lex, truthfully. I don't think it would have mattered if Lex won the WWF championship twice. I think he was still out and going to WCW. So I think it was a really good call by Vince on both times. So.
And I'm not sure if you've ever seen this clip, but a clip was thrown around a couple of years ago, and this is pre-WWE Vault, which is the greatest YouTube channel of all time, where there's a segment on a Superstars episode where they introduce Lex Luger. It's like it's a cut
as a world champion, right?
As champion, they have him with the belt and everything, and it's very interesting. Let's see what this would look like. Let's see what the fans would do, and I kind of think that's like an interesting move to try it out. But I also think it's like, well, of course the fans are going to go crazy with one segment, one time, and whatever the hell building it was. So you're never going to get the ultimate reaction like you would have if he legit won it. So I just would like to see him in the Hall of Fame sooner than later, because how many times, Drew, have we seen wrestlers end up, passing away and earlier than they should have? And, I hope so. I hope so. Earlier than later. So we'll see. But yeah, big fan of Lex Luger. And I agree with you. It is interesting with Hogan being the big physique guy of the 80s. Warrior didn't show up until 87, 88, where he really arrived. Luger was right at that same time. So yeah, the Lex's puffy shirt. And they turned that into an action
What's up,
figure.
Corey? Did they finally turn that into an action figure? I know you wrestling figure fans were.
It's a Build-A-Figure. So you had to buy 4 of the figures in the Monday Night War set, and you built the puffy shirt Luger. So
got it.
Wonderful stuff. So yeah, so I'm all in on Lex Luger. Great interview by Chris Van Vliet as always. Speaking of people that get microphones and talk like you and I do, evidently they're just handing them out to anybody. This Stephanie McMahon woman is about to get a podcast. I think it's branded with WWE. We don't know what it's going to be called or what it's going to be discussing or anything. But as a venture, just straight up, how many other talents have had podcasts under WWE? But now this is as high as it can get, outside of a Shane, Vince, or Triple H. So what are your thoughts on Stephanie McMahon hopping on in the podcast game?
She'll be great. I mean, truthfully, she will be.
Yeah.
I think she will. She's obviously not going to be like controversial.
No.
And it's gonna be WWE produced, which is, smart. They've, wanted to jump into this numerous times, and they have with Jericho and Austin and Foley and Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson. Now, this is somebody who's presumably under contract and under the umbrella, and it's smart. It's a way to put her to work.
I hope she's under contract.
Yeah. And probably something she wants to do. So I'm here for it. And realistically, if she could transition, to that role, I think she's going to be great. But realistically, if you guys are looking for like, what happened when, or something to wrestle with Stephanie McMahon, or something to wrestle with Stephanie McMahon, I don't think you're going to get any dirt out of Steph.
Well, she is also doing that. What is it? Stephanie's Places.
The Disney,
show?
Yeah, the Disney Plus ESPN stuff.
So they're doing, she's getting reintroduced back into the fold. I think it'll be cool for her to maybe touch on older storylines, but I think that'll only go so far. Like, I don't think they'll talk about the potential, or she'll probably talk about the Vince Stephanie I Quit match from 2003.
I think it'll be cool as hell if she talks about the time that she was almost sacrificed by the Undertaker, like what went into that and all that other stuff. Like, that type of stuff's going to be awesome to listen to Steph kind of talk about.
I want to hear her talk about it in kayfabe though. Man, I was on that. I had on that symbol, and I didn't know what was going to happen.
The biggest thing with that too is like, people are going to say, and I just said it's going to be very, toe the line. It's going to be very clean. But Steph's going to get some big guests. There's no doubt about it.
She can get anybody.
Yeah, we're talking anybody. She could get
H.
Shane, Taker. Like, she could get anybody.
Shane would be interesting considering some of the, don't want to be ghosted by Shane.
That'd be my first guess if I'm WWE. And that would literally be my first guess if I'm Steph. Let's go get my brother. Because you're not getting Vince. So
I don't know if everybody wants to hear it, but no one wants to really hear it.
Vince is going to listen, I saw that rumor and whatever else that was floating around, and I touched on it again. We're not going to cue the frog on this one because it's not time yet, producer man. But I will say that if Vince is going to tell his story, it's going to be produced by Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn, and it's going to be just himself who does all the producing, all of the this and the that, and it's going to be a Vince McMahon production. So.
Damn it, say it better. I'm trying.
Yeah, right. So, Vince is not going to do it under somebody else's umbrella because, first of all, I don't think anybody's going to touch him with a 10-foot pole. Truthfully.
Damn, I thought we were going to get Vince on Drew and Juice.
Boy, I'd have to pull some major strings.
Drew and Juice and Vince. Vince gets third billing.
Yeah, right. Vinny and Juice. The thing with Vince is anybody right now, and I would even say even, better part of the next couple of years, anybody who works with him, like if he does settle, I don't know how anybody takes the risk of working side by side with him right now, because it's just going to be like you're working with Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
that's the
it's
thing.
gonna, and I think, I don't know. It's so tough to touch on these types of subjects, but to me, Vince will be more palatable to work with after these things are settled. But I would wager that those on that defense that are going to be involved in this want to drag out as long as possible so that he does not get the opportunity to continue to work.
Yeah, here's my thought on, even if they settle and they could settle tomorrow, I think the stigma stays with Vince for a while. I think Kevin Dunn will work with him, obviously, and him and Vince could do something. And there might be some other people, but if you're talking about starting a wrestling promotion, first of all, Vince would never say that. Number one. Number two, I don't ever see it happening, because I don't, people are like, well, Brock's out there. Okay, yeah, I get that. And
you'd be the champion and number one contender and other champion and tag champion.
But the thing is that, like, you got to think of it from this perspective. What television station is going to jump on board with Vince or network? Number one, even if Vince did his own thing, he still has to get people. I just don't see a lot of people working for Vince McMahon at this moment. And that's not to say that, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Vince and the thing that we cover. And
that's a whole nother conversation. That's almost presumed,
No, but I mean, like,
there's people that would be willing to work with him now. That they're not going to say it, but they would work with him if he asked them.
But that's the biggest thing. It's like, if you're going to go work for Vince McMahon, if that ever happened, people are going to want to hide the fact that they're working for Vince. And it's never going to work. It's never going to work. And again, I'm not sitting here saying that Vince won't come back. I'm not talking about in a wrestling capacity, or Vince is not going to be seen again. I think he will be. But Vince starting an entire company and an entertainment company, I don't fully see it. I don't fully see it.
Maybe he'll bring back the WBF.
Oh God.
You watched the WBF pay-per-view? The only one that they had? No, back in 92.
I bet you did.
Luger was I wasn't alive yet. Luger was supposed to be a part of the WBF.
Have you seen it though?
Oh, I've rewatched it back. Yeah, and I've seen
what?
People cover it. Well, just to make fun of it, because all it is jack dudes, but then they like give them gimmicks to make them more interesting. And it's basically an episode of WWF. Well, they used to call it WBF Body Stars instead of Superstars. And they would just, again, they'd give these jack guys like a character to make them something. They tried to make wrestling out of bodybuilding, but when all you're doing is this, how much more excitement can you get out of that? So it was clear that it was one and done on a pay-per-view scale.
Bodybuilding Jones over here. All right, let's move on.
I also had a WBF t-shirt that I sold.
Oh God.
Yeah. Shout out to Adam Conta, guy from New York, who bought it.
Sounds familiar.
So I think he's a lawyer. He's a pretty prominent lawyer in the New York area. But yeah, Gary Stridham was the guy. He was like the only champion of the WBF, and he had merch, and that was it.
Oh, this is going to hell.
When does it not go to hell, Drew? Come on. And shout out to whoever said, can't wait for this new episode of Drew and Junk.
Drew and Junk. We might need to change it. I like it.
Love that. Well, you coined it.
Love it. I love it.
What I love is this NXT Roadblock card. Can we talk about that for a moment? As a show with such great lineage as Roadblock happening twice in 2016, including End of the Line that I was in attendance for in Pittsburgh.
That was in Pittsburgh. I was there too.
Yeah. Yeah. Roadblock is now become an NXT venture. And I don't know if we've talked about this yet, but Vengeance Day and now Roadblock are just being called WWE Vengeance Day and Roadblock. They're not branding it as an NXT show. Of course, it's in the promotional material.
They did that with Deadline too. It's very smart of them to brand them
Deadline,
being
okay,
WWE.
Right.
It's very smart to do this, because the WWE NXT brand, although very noticeable and recognizable, the WWE brand by itself carries a ton more weight and visibility. So, and it's a WWE production, so they can get away with it,
Absolutely. And this is going to be at the theater at MSG, Madison Square Garden. 3 matches on tap, yet these matches are ridiculous. Like Julia versus Stephanie Vaquer, winner take all. And now Julia has been rumored to be injured, so that might lead you to believe.
I was told that was not true.
Well, we'll find out one way or the other at the theater at Madison Square Garden. The Hardy Boys going against Fraxium. And I thought, I think you probably saw, I tagged you in it, but a couple of weeks ago in our spaces that we had a fellow come on and mention how when WWE brought up the Hardys over the summer, they did not tag either of those guys. And if they don't tag them, they might not want to work with them. Well, Mike. Not only are they, yeah, Mike, who did he like Chris Jericho? I can't recall.
Hates Jericho.
But anyway, they tagged them and they're wrestling and they're defending the TNA tag titles. So
listen, you know what? In his defense, I will say, and I'm not defending most here, but I will defend Mike here on this one.
And I was in agreement. I thought
they put him on. They put the Hardy. Listen, I'm happy for Matt and Jeff, but they put them on their third brand. I think it's a trial run. It's a test. They're the most viewed on YouTube from NXT.
For sure.
This past week. So there's obviously a lot of eyeballs and a lot of eyeballs that want to watch the Hardys. It's just all a matter of whether or not they can, and we all want them to stay together and stay straight. So that's what we're all hoping for. But yeah, I asked for this match back in December. And I said, I want Fraxium versus the Hardys and give it to me at Stand and Deliver. I still think we're getting that at Stand and Deliver, but I think it'll be for both the NXT and TNA Tag Team Championships.
Find the tweet, Drew.
I have the tweet.
Producer.
I have it. I have the tweet. I mean, I could look it up. I don't think he has that, but I could look it up for you. Here,
in addition, additionally, we have Obafemi and Moose for the NXT title. So it's pretty wild that we are getting not only a crossover between NXT and TNA, but now we're getting a PLE with. It's basically
January 22nd. I said, give me the Hardys versus Fraxium and Frazier, or Axiom and Frazier during WrestleMania weekend.
There you go. You heard it there first.
We'll get it up here, but go ahead.
But it's just fascinating that this NXT-TNA partnership is already putting forth, lack of a better term, a forbidden door show where they're both titles are all on the line here. It's at the theater at MSG. That's a huge deal, and it's not even their Stand and Deliver like main WrestleMania show. So I can't even imagine what they're going to pull out in Vegas. It's going to be a wild weekend there. So I'm looking forward to it. Do you think they add one, maybe two more matches to this?
Possibly. Here's the tweet.
There it is.
There it is.
Oh, how about answer that question? TLC or Ultimate X? Do you think they get something like that? Like a stipulation, or especially if it's on the big show?
I think what will happen is I think that you'll probably get, like I said, the rematch at Stand and Deliver for both titles.
Okay.
And I will tell you, the Stephanie Vacour Julia match is interesting. I think it's crazy early since both women just won their respective championships. I think it's going to be some sort of like a schmaz finish where I think
for winner take all.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think there could be something where there's a no contest or somebody interferes. Now, if a lot of people are being misled, and if I was even misled about Julia being injured, then we could easily crown a new world champion. But I think these two were scheduled to go on respective runs for a little bit here before meeting head on. So it's very interesting. And and I'm going to go with this. I'm sorry, Juice. I know you.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm going to go with, I think Roxanne Perez and Jordan Grace might have their match there at the Garden. If it's not already signed, but that's right.
Yeah, I don't see it on here yet, but let's say you did get worked and Julia is even, somewhat injured to where she could work the match, but likely lose the title, don't defend it. And then maybe, Stephanie gets a match to Stand and Deliver, but then Julia can come back pretty immediately after and they can reset that. Because to me, the winner take all so quick, like you said, makes me believe that there might be an injury of some sort or an issue where they need to get something going to go forth because we don't know if we can have one of these two talents going forward. And they need somebody to have, a big piece of momentum.
For sure. But I can tell you that I everything that I have been, told, it seems as if, and everything that I've read is that both of these women are going to go on respective long runs. So we'll see.
Title runs.
Yeah, this would be very interesting. Very, very interesting.
So something else I felt was interesting. Let's keep on trucking here.
Mm-hmm.
Saudi Arabia looking to only have one PLE in 2025, yet upwards of 3 reported in 2026. Now, when I bring this up, I know Royal Rumble is going to be there. Yeah. Would they count that even if it's 2 nights as one PLE? Let me get that straight.
No. It is going to be one PLE, and there's going to be 2 other separate events in 2026. Okay. This was on the Q4 earnings call for TKO. And I will say, I don't give away many secrets, but I will tell you that a lot of your favorite insiders and whatever else want to go to talent for dirt and news and everything else like that. The people who have the most news and the most quote unquote dirt are going to be your executives. So make sure that if you want to be in the know, you can befriend or whatever, you could talk to an executive because they know more than the talent, unless that talent is Triple H.
I like how you make that seem so casual. Oh, just befriend an executive at WWE. That's easy.
I mean,
let me call up TKO. Hey, Dwayne, can you tell me what's happening next month?
I didn't say that. But what I'm saying is, if you've done business with the company before, you could have conversations.
Of course.
And realistically, I'm not sitting here saying that executives are like, hey, Rock's going over at Chamber. So, you go, that's what that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they will tell you hey,
you said it.
We got some stuff in the hopper for Netflix, or we got, some new content that's going to be dropping on A&E. And, they want things to get out. They want things to be prevalent. And they have to report these things. Does WWE and TKO because they're publicly traded. So on the call, Mark Shapiro and Nick Khan and Ari Emanuel, and I believe Andrew, I can't remember his last name, but anyways, they stated that there will be 3 PLEs in Saudi Arabia. And one of them is a Rumble. The other one's going to be King and Queen of the Ring and then Crown Jewel. They are not having, from my understanding, this upcoming year in 2025, this year, they are only going to do King and Queen of the Ring. I don't believe there is a Crown Jewel in November because they think it would be too much of an oversaturation in that year with having November and then January.
A Rumble. Right.
So,
well, so that brings us to this. CM Punk in the company, not really a fan of the Saudi stuff. So there's only one show to not do, which is fair. But what happens when the Rumble is there? Is CM Punk not going to be in the Royal Rumble?
I would say that hopefully, enough time has died down and CM Punk not only, I don't think it's going to take much convincing because he's going to be a company man and has been a company man. But I think that, in 2026, I think CM Punk's going to be in the Royal Rumble.
I want to agree with you, but I also, and I don't know Phil or CM or whatever you want to refer to him as, but just to me, he seems very standing on his laurels, and I would be pretty stunned if he turned it around. And again, he had negative things to say about WWE and all these things, and now he's back, but it's a different regime, and maybe that's another, that could be the answer. Oh, well, he's going to go to Saudi because it's a different regime and it's different, type of backstage atmosphere and all these things, but it's just going to be interesting to me. I would just be floored to see him go over there, but it's just, last year he got injured. Pretty easy to work around that. When it's the Royal Rumble, it's like a pretty big ass deal. Like you can't.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
You can make it.
They just did
an injury.
They just did 70,000 people.
Yeah.
For them to not have one of their biggest draws next year's Rumble would be interesting. But I will tell you, now we're talking about the Royal Rumble that was in Indy at 70,000. We saw the WrestleMania announcement came last week, and I can tell you that the Indianapolis WrestleMania might be coming sooner rather than later due to what happened at the Rumble and how impressed WWE was with the entire operation with the Indiana Sports Bureau. So I think we could get WrestleMania 43 in Indy.
So you think it would be before that SummerSlam? SummerSlam would come later.
I think SummerSlam might be the last one that they have, and I know that wasn't the original plan. I think
but I think they could pivot if it's such a booming success. The Rumble in it, by all accounts, seem like it. Why not?
And they want to strike while the iron's hot. So it seems to me like they're going to go New Orleans, Indy. I'm going to say either Nashville or California. I know they want to return to Cali, so I think they could
LA
do
again,
that.
or are they going to go back to?
I think Levi's would be the
Levi's.
place.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the atmosphere, at least from the TV perspective of Levi's. It looked really, really cool. The sun, but then that's also a problem, you know?
Well, I think that they would wait until about, 4:30 local time.
Have a later start time. That makes sense. Yeah.
And I think it would be okay. So,
well, and it's 2 nights, so you don't have to try to jam it all in and have it start earlier.
And remember, they could go later via East Coast time because they don't have a curfew West Coast time till later on in the East. So they could do a lot there. I mean, they could go live at 7:00 their time, which would be 10:00 Eastern. I don't think they'll do that. Ooh, but I'm just saying.
Oh man, that would be brutal.
Well, but what I'm saying is I think they could do 5 and then it's 8:00 Eastern. I mean,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. 8:00 seems more reasonable, but to me, I feel like they'd probably try to sneak in 4:00 so we can get it at 7. But I mean, as long as one of the days is fine and it's not too crazy of sun, I don't know. And they probably learned from that and it can probably make a stage and awnings and figure it out.
They're gonna go where the money's at. So and where the money's offered and site fee. Yeah, site fees and everything else like that. But I'm going to go 42. And I know I said Nashville for 43, but I think they're going to hold off on Nashville for 43. I think they really want to strike while the iron's hot for Indy. And I think Indy's going to be right after New Orleans. So.
Well, and they want to, they say that the Nashville building should be done in 2027, but that doesn't mean fully fledged, ready to roll. First show is going to be a WrestleMania. Like, let's house all these people. I will tell you, I would wager if they want to wait that extra year or two, have some other events there, then do it. That makes more sense.
Well, if Nashville is done by WrestleMania 43, I think they do want to be the first event there. And I also think that
makes sense.
They really want to get into Nashville for a WrestleMania. So they were not, too thrilled with SummerSlam, but that's in the dead of summer, no pun intended there, and it was hot. So
what do you mean not thrilled with the attendance?
Yeah, and I mean, they'll obviously do bigger business now, but I know that they did okay. They probably would have liked to have done better. I mean, the SummerSlam in Cleveland was a smash. The only thing that people were complaining about was the getting in and out of there and everything else like that. But the same thing happens at MetLife, and they go back to MetLife time after time. So it doesn't matter.
They're going back there this year.
Yeah. So not for Mania, but I mean, so it doesn't matter. So, they'll go where the money's at and site fees are at, and that's what's important to them. So, and they haven't gotten site fees for NXT, but I'm telling you that's coming soon. Watch.
What do you mean?
So, TKO is obviously a very strong operating business. Yeah. A lot of people have, said they're greedy and all this other stuff. That's what happens.
Businesses are. Yeah. I forgot, Drew. The point of businesses is to lose money. Like, of course you want to be greedy. You want to get more money. Well, what are you talking about here?
I mean, greed is, even though Gordon Gekko, greed is good. Greed is not always good. But I will say that you want to operate at a profit. And you want to generate the most revenue you possibly can. So when you're getting site fees to bring these events, WWE is going to continuously go where they're getting the most money or some money for site fees. I mean, the WrestleMania site fees are astronomical. A lot of people do not understand how this all works, and that's fine. There are some people who are on the internet. But site fees are very important to TKO and their portfolio and their shareholders and stockholders. And continuously they're going to go where the biggest site fee they can get. So when NXT gets to that level, they'll take that too. And it could be arenas. It doesn't need to be stadiums.
Yeah. And I enjoyed the NXT brand when they got to tour, even if it was just like house show stuff. But I mean, if they toured for their TV at the bare minimum, I think that would be really exciting. If they do these smaller venues and take it on the road, I think they could be pretty damn successful. I wanted to get your take on it's like the triple threat of events that they're doing in Kansas. Like 4, it's a quadruple, it's a fatal 4-way.
I think I'd have to go look it up.
Just whatever it is, but your thoughts on that in general, where let's just stack every possible thing under our umbrella in one city. I think it works for certain cities, especially with PBR. But
well, I'm going to say this. It's PBR, it's UFC, and Raw. So it's a triple threat. You're right. I'm looking at the press release right here. TKO, they're calling this a TKO takeover. They've had this in their hopper for a while. What they want to do, they want to festivalize events, and what that means is, they have Endeavor, they have PBR, they have UFC, and they have WWE. The mergers and everything. The TKO umbrella right now is UFC and WWE, but we're getting everything very, very quickly. So with this, they want to festivalize their events, and they want to basically get site fees for stuff like this, where they're bringing PBR one night, of UFC fight the next night or a couple nights after that. And it's a weekend long event. And then they get WWE. If they could get a concert or an entertainment act there on a Friday, because this is Thursday, Saturday, Monday, if they could get a concert in here on Sunday or something like that, that's under this umbrella, they'll do it. They're going to continue to push this. This is the model that they want. They've always wanted festival style takeovers, and you're seeing a little bit of it right now.
Now, do you see, does it have to just be separate entities, like 3 separate ones? Or could you see, if Sunday is open, what if there's an NXT PLE to have? Could they do that?
Yeah, I don't think it's got to be something that's separate. I don't think they're going to pigeonhole themselves or handcuff themselves to any stuff like that, because realistically, they're going to want to generate the most possible revenue, and they're going to put whatever they possibly can on there. So if, I don't know, somebody wants, WWE or this TKO takeover, and they're like, give us UFC and give us 3 WWE events, that's what they'll do,
Okay.
But I do know that they are very big on festivals. That's what they want. They want a festival style weekend, and it's a good selling point for them.
And that makes sense. They'd make money hand over fist there. I wanted to ask you, because you brought up how it seems like TKO might be interested in boxing as a future endeavor, if you will.
Yeah, that's happening. Cue the frog. That's happening. The TKO boxing stuff with the Saudis is 100% happening. That is going to happen because they don't have to pay anything. TKO has to do nothing. They just are going to be the promoter, the distributor, and the Saudis are going to pay for everything. They're going to do 4 fights a year. They might even have 2 this year. They might even have 4 this year. I know at a minimum they're going to have 2, but they're going to continue to do this. They're going to be mega events. So TKO and Saudi are going to get into the boxing game.
Where do you 4 fights? Do they have access to anybody? Is this hey, Logan Paul's involved? Do you think he can get Jake?
Well, I think this is I think this is why Logan rushed, and was like, okay, I'll come back WWE and I'll be full time and everything else like that. Because I think Logan had aspirations and has aspirations to box. Now his brother beat Mike Tyson. I don't know if Mike gave it his all, but whatever. His brother beat Mike Tyson. His brother's looking for another fight. I think Canelo ran to Saudi for a fight. That's what Jake is saying. And it seems like that's what it is. So if you could get a Jake Paul fight under this TKO Saudi umbrella, it's a big get. And they already have one of the Paul brothers. All it takes is another one. And realistically, I wouldn't be surprised you see Conor McGregor versus Logan Paul in the near future too. Because if they're in the boxing game, you have to understand something. TKO, Endeavor, UFC, WWE, it's all one, right? And then you bring in the Saudis. Conor can look at Dana and be like, hey, look, you're getting a piece of this. I'm getting a piece of this. Let me fight. And he'll say, okay. Because that might be one of the reasons that fight was held up. Now, Jake and Logan want to say it's because he's a crackhead or whatever, but that's smart marketing and promoting so that they could get Conor to say, listen, I'm going to knock this guy out for next to nothing because I can't stand him. The Paul brothers are no dummies. I can promise you that. You might think they're dummies, but when it comes to getting dollars and cents, they're not dummies.
They might not make some sense, but they make a lot of dollars and cents for sure.
Yeah. Apron Bump says, one step closer to the return of Brawl
for All.
Is that the content streamer who does the classic reviews and stuff like that?
He does timelines, and I do some stuff on his show. We review classic pay-per-views and stuff.
I think he asked me to do a show with him a couple times, and I had to turn it down due to my contract obligations. So I apologize.
Oh my God. Contract obligations with what?
I wasn't allowed to do other content that was retro content. It was in my contract, unfortunately. So
With who? What is this?
I'm just letting you know.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
I didn't know you had to sign contract. You didn't sign a contract for this show.
It's because it's my show.
Well, it's our show, Drew.
I knew that would get you. It's very easy. I can see you as soon as I said it. Go ahead. Yes, it's our show. It's Drew and Juice.
Well, it's Drew and Junk. Emphasis on the junk.
Go ahead.
It's funny that Apron Bump tapped in here because I wanted to bring up. That's right. He does big time people. I'm glad he showed up for this show though.
8 episodes. I've never big timed you.
Look, I'm thrilled we've gotten to 8. Let's keep going. What's
the stat? Away. What's that stat? It's like once you get through like 7 episodes or something, you've beaten like 90% of the people who try or something like that. I don't remember what it is, but anyways, go ahead.
Well, to me, it's either 43 weeks or 84 weeks or however many episodes Nitro had. Any of those milestones, I would be thrilled with. Right. But let's dive into some chaos. And this will be early chamber stuff, but I just want to acknowledge this because Apron Bump chimed in. Mm-hmm. He had a tweet that blew the hell up over this past week because
what's blowing the hell up?
976,000 impressions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So I know what I'm talking about. Well, he knows what he's talking about. So The Rock, does his crazy promo. Of course, all this crazy shit happened last week when we're talking on the show, and then on SmackDown, it got literally crazier than what we could have anticipated. But The Rock then tweets 2 days ago, "Thanks for watching the show. We got some disruptive moves coming up, so tune in. Love playing this audacious, unpredictable character known as Final Boss."
Wait, he said this to him?
This is what just The Rock said, right? Oh, that's all he said was, I love playing this character, right? Apron Bump then quotes it and says, and I quote, "Holy fuck, can you just play the character and not let us know that it's a character?" And I can see both sides of it. And I Apron Bump Kyle, I love him. He's a great guy. I want to come.
You just said his real name? Come on. Jeez. Go ahead.
It's okay. He refers to himself as that, so it's fine. He's cleared. And check out our show, A Cold Day in Hell in Your House, March 12th.
That's a good one.
It was. We talked all about it. You should tap in and listen, considering you big time in the first time. Anyway, that tweet blew up, and I just wanted to attack this from both sides and get your opinion on it, Drew. On one hand, I can see where he's coming from because The Rock is a guy who's been ensconced in the business for so long, and now he wants to come out and be like, "Look, I love playing this character. You don't know. It's bigger than titles," and it makes it seem like it's lessened what they're showing, like it's breaking the fourth wall.
So
on the other hand, the Final Boss can be unhinged, and he could play it up. So I could see both sides, but I felt it was fun to touch on.
Well, I think we're in a unique situation because I would agree. Like I talked to, I want to say it was Blake Mitchmore the other day, and I was just like, The Rock kind of just basically he's basically telling everybody, when he said, "I like to jump in the Final Boss skin and do this character and everything else like that. I like to be able to do that." And I was like, I get it. I just think we're in a unique situation and in a unique time where we have a board member who's an active professional wrestler. And that's the thing. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson can't go on there and be the Final Boss on the board because people will be like, "Who the fuck is this goofball on the board of directors?"
Like on the first Raw on Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to be Dwayne Johnson. He cannot be
the actor,
The Rock,
the megastar, the celebrity.
No, he's got to be the businessman. He's got to be the board member.
Right, but that's Dwayne Johnson. That's all of those things. He is those. Yeah.
Now the Final Boss is a character that is just, encapsulating in the WWE universe. So I understand where he's coming from. I understand to a lot of wrestling fans that, sit on social media. This is like, God dang it. And I understand where Kyle is coming from because it's like, Jesus, dude, we don't need you to fully pull back the curtain. Just go do your stuff as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as a board member. And, you could just be the Final Boss on social media. So I get it. But again, I just think we're in a very unique time.
Yeah.
And it's one that we'll probably never see ever again. I don't think we'll ever see an active wrestler on the board of TKO ever after this, truthfully.
Right. And I'm glad you kind of say the same thing. Like you could see both sides. Cause again, why are you pulling the curtain back when you didn't have to say that? We get what you're doing. We all see that. You don't need to tell us that, But on the flip side, it does match up with the final boss character because he's out of his mind. He wants to take Cody's soul, and who knows what's going to happen at Chamber if that doesn't happen. So like, I get both sides. I just found it very interesting, and I really found more entertainment in seeing the people either support Apron Bump or be like, don't you realize it's like, fixed? Like, what do you mean? Why are you so upset? He's an actor. Like I don't know. People
I
on there
remember exactly where I was when I was like 6 years old. I was at a house show on Long Island, New York, and the dude next to me looked at me, and he must have been some miserable. I don't remember what he looked like. He must have been some miserable cretin, like some Muppet. And he just looked at me, and I was with my dad, and he said, he knows wrestling's fixed, right? And my dad goes, yeah. He goes, but he's 6. And I was just like, but I mean, it was just like, so like, yeah, I mean, we all know it's fixed. We all know it's staged. But
WWE has leaned into that more than not recently. It's just hilarious that a guy like The Rock, who's been involved and his family's been involved for so long, he has no problem peeling back that curtain. But he's also the board of directors. He can pull back that curtain if he wants. And it works with the character. So like, I'm all in. Like it's just very confusing and exciting.
He couldn't sit at that press conference and be the final boss. He could do that. He could do that when we have these post-show press conferences.
Yeah, for people like you to ask the questions and then you get shredded. Oh yeah, I know. You ask good questions, Drew. I applaud you for that.
I appreciate that. You'll never catch me being like, so in 6 months, where is Bryan Danielson's reign gonna? It's like, come on, dude. Where are we going in 6 months? Hold up. Let me just give you the script.
Are you more in the weeds than you were last week, Tony?
Yeah, I can't wait for that question. I can't wait for it.
It's inevitable. Someone will say it, but they'll try to spin it as a positive. Like,
I can't wait till
so great this week. How deep have you gone into writing these skits?
I can't wait till we get, and I know it's coming, and I'm just going to sit on the end of that call, or I'm going to sit in the media scrum, and I'm just going to put my hand in my face, and they'll probably hear me sigh. But I know we're going to get the first question, or one of the first questions is going to be like, with how you've seen the usage of your release stars in WWE, are you going to consider to release more, or are you going to hold them because you don't want them to achieve success in the other company? And it's just like, oh my God, like, don't waste your question on this shit. Seriously.
I just hope the mics pick up your sigh. Oh, there's Drew. I knew Drew was there.
Well, on the phone calls they won't, because everyone's muted. But I'll tell you until you ask a question. But if it is in person,
one of those scrums, why not?
If somebody asks it, you'll hear me like smash like that notebook I have or something. I'll just be like, and that's all you hear. Like, are we gonna have more releases, dude? You know what? Like, I can't stand them.
What do you think about Ricky Saints? Do you think he's doing a good job in NXT, Tony?
Here, because I am trained like this type of stuff. I'll tell you exactly what Tony's going to say. I haven't caught up with any of that stuff, but we wish, Ricky the best, and I thank him for his time here.
In his future endeavors. It would be great and witty to turn that.
That's all Tony's going to say, though. I haven't watched this, but I haven't watched his debut, but I want to thank Ricky for his time here, and I wish him the absolute best.
And we've talked about this, Drew. What is Tony? What would any of these guys that get these insanely, not even softball questions, just mindless questions? What do people expect them to say? And then they don't give them the answer they want. Therefore, they're not doing a good job. I hate this company. Because they asked a stupid question. Sometimes there can be stupid questions, Drew.
Oh,
but there really are.
Oh yeah, there's some dumb questions sometimes. I just sit there and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. So so you said you didn't, did you catch Ricky Saints' debut? Want to talk about that real quick?
I watched it. I think this was the first time in a very long time that I watched 2 episodes of NXT live, truthfully.
Wow. So you like the venue compared to, now it's 2 different companies running that Cincinnati venue.
Yeah. Where were the geniuses that were like, hey, WWE is going to sell more tickets than AEW? They couldn't because it was either going to be the exact same or it was going to be less. because they couldn't.
Yeah.
And I never understood that. Like these self-proclaimed geniuses who need to scream it at the top of I'm the smartest. I challenge anybody. I'm the smartest. It's like, dude, who are you trying to convince? Seriously. Like what you like that and the other people wanting to fight other people. It's just been a wild week. But anyways,
for charity.
Yeah, right. I don't get where like, well, would you this was going to be this, and then no, it's going to look the same. The only thing that's going to be different is the production, because WWE
and the talent.
Well, yeah, and WWE has had a ton of decades of experience with production. I thought the production, just like every one of their shows, is A1. Building sounded great, looked great. It looked great and sounded great on Dynamite, and Collision. But I will tell you that I thought the NXT show looked A1, and the matches and everything were very well done. So.
Yeah, I thought the Lexus King Moose match was really a lot of fun. I thought Ricky Saints, it was a fun opening to get him in there. Like, and I saw people critical of the theme and all these things. It's week 1 of him being, a prominent character on NXT. At least he's being utilized. He's given this chance.
Mm-hmm.
Why be so critical immediately out the gate? Well, I know why, because, ridiculous. Post-show scrubs make me lose IQ points. You're not the only one.
That's Josh. Josh, what's up, dude? Hope you were well, my man. He's a good dude.
Oh, shout out to Josh. I was unfamiliar.
Josh is a good dude. Josh Lopez, good guy.
I say just the first name of the apron bump and you give me hell. And now you gave out the full-fledged government name of a guy who posted just the Hoots podcast.
I'm pretty
sure.
Give
me a break, Drew.
I'm pretty sure he goes by Josh Lopez.
Okay, but that's not what we saw. Okay, an apron bump goes by Kyle. But you didn't know that just because I didn't know his name. So it's fair. I'm just calling out the hypocrisy, Drew. This is a fair and balanced playground.
I don't play on playgrounds. I'm a grown man.
I'm glad. Good. It's good. Bald, gray-haired, beard men should not be on playgrounds.
So hurry up. Let's get back on your seesaw. As you drink liquid death. What are you, JD?
Are you fucking kidding me?
What flavor is that?
This is green guillotine.
Okay. Well, is it like apple?
Guillotine. It's the green tea.
Oh, okay. The cherry one's good.
That one's good. I like Dead Billionaire. It's the Arnold Palmer like tea lemonade mix.
Got it. That's probably their best one. I've had that one.
I hadn't tried Liquid Death until very recently. It's very good. It reminds me
I have
of
their Dr. Death.
Old school Propel fitness water back in the day. It was like a nice 2006, which is almost 20 years ago, is a long time ago. It is old school. It's watered down trash now.
I was in
middle school. Man, I was in middle school.
All right, go ahead.
I'm just saying. So anyway, Liquid Death's pretty good. So I like
try their Dr. Death. Their soda's very good.
Dr. Death, Steve Williams?
No, Dr. Death by Liquid Death. It's like their twist on Dr. Pepper. It's very good. Any hoot and holler.
Oh, wow. See? You learn something new every week on Drew and I'm gonna try. Sure. All right. So we talked a little bit about AEW earlier. Let's touch on Dynamite and discuss what we got going on. Revolution's pretty set now, almost. Any more matches do you foresee coming into the fray for Revolution as we stand 6 matches plus, of course, the big boom pre-show match, but cage match, title matches, rematches, chaos happening at Revolution, Drew.
I think that we will see Harley Cameron in a match. Don't know against who yet.
Okay.
But I think that happens. Trying to think. We could have an FTR match.
Because in the time that we talked about it last week, they announced officially that we were getting Mariah May, Toni Storm 3. Mm-hmm. So I'm not. I still don't think that would be the end all be all for these two, assuming it goes one way or the other. I have a feeling that they would have another match down the line. Who knows in what capacity? But I don't think this is the end for those two. They have such a built-in story, and
probably not. We'll have to wait and see. But the card is stacked. There's no
as most Revolution cards are.
It's true. I did put that out, and you are right. It is. It is stacked.
Yeah. So Cope's been taking out Death Rider guys. Very interesting last couple of shows on Collision with him taking out Pac, and then this past week on Dynamite. I don't know. I'm really just interested to see if they pull the trigger on Cope and him winning, because
I think they will. I think
you've been standing by it, even though it's been tilting more and more towards him not winning. I
could see him not winning, but I'm going to say this: if we get a Cope loss at Revolution, it would be one of his first singles losses in a very long time, which is fine. But if we get Jay White turning on Copeland, I'm going to be pissed. And I don't really get pissed at some things, but I'm going to just be like, this is just every time, because it's wrestling. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm going to get pissed, but I'm just be like, this is dumb. Every time Moxley gets in the ring, he's got some outside interference, and I get it. He's a heel, but we don't need, like, either have Cope lose clean or have him win the championship and have Christian cash in, or whatever the case may be.
Sometimes the easiest thing to choose is the right way to go.
Yeah, I don't want to see a turn. I don't.
Because it would have turned from, no pun intended, a turn from Jay White last, the Grand Slam show. We both agreed he might only have this opportunity because he's, a local guy there. And we're not sure if he's going to be featured in a world title opportunity down the line. And now if he were to still be involved and turn on Cope, throw a wrench into the plans, and then where does Mox go from there if Cope doesn't win? Because Cope would then probably go against Jay White, and then Mox is out there now. Did we not get is it not Ricochet versus Swerve? They didn't have that on. They don't have that on this.
It's announced. Yeah.
It's not listed here where I'm looking, but that is for the number one contendership. Am I mistaken?
Which is interesting. I think if Ricochet wins, then I could easily see something different happening with the world title match. If Swerve is your winner there, I think Swerve and Copeland make a lot of sense, at least for me.
Swerve and Cope would be cool.
Yeah. So, I've seen the stuff online when I put my prediction out, and people are like, I don't want Cope anywhere near the World Heavyweight Championship. But realistically, I'm sorry. It's either Cope, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada. There's a short list of people. Swerve, who should be your AEW World Champion. And I'm going to tell you this right now. It seems to me that once Omega is finished with Takeshita, he's going to go find Okada. And I think they have a big match at All In. This is a prediction. I think we're having a big match at All In where it's Okada holding the Continental Classic Championship or the Continental title. And I think we're going to have Omega holding the international title, and they're going to combine them. Because realistically, the Continental title needs to go away, in my opinion. You could have the winner receive a World Heavyweight Championship opportunity if you win the Continental Classic, but that title is a ticking time bomb year after year. And who the hell wants to hold it?
Right. And now my only question is, and I tend to agree, I think All In would be the moment to have Okada
Omega is happening at All In. It's just a matter of what title they're fighting for.
Right. And because that's a match that has been, it took place at the Tokyo Dome. Like, this is a match that's a huge deal to have in the States, in a North American wrestling company.
Yeah.
But why do you think it would be dragged all the way to July instead of potentially having it at Double or Nothing?
Well, Omega and Takeshita are not done after Revolution.
Right. And then they have Dynasty.
So they're going to have Dynasty, and I think you're getting a trilogy, truthfully, between those
of what, Omega, Takeshita?
Yeah, I don't think this is the first. They're going to go to Dynasty for sure. Maybe they don't go directly to Dynasty. Maybe there's a tag match or something or whatever. But you're 100% getting 3 matches out of these two men in the next 3 months. So
do we know what's happening in June?
I don't think there's anything happening in June.
So it skips from May 25th to July 12th. I mean,
which would make sense.
Yeah, you could do a special episode or something in June of Dynamite. You can play that up, but I just found that interesting because I agree. We talked about where certain pay-per-views are in regards to, like, I said Revolution is the WrestleMania, like of where they land. But All In being that mega show, I tend to think, Omega Okada should be there. But to me, I know how much time we have from now until then, so I'd be in for Takeshita Omega trilogy if that's the case. Even if it's just 2 matches, I would take 2 because I'm thrilled we're getting 1 because these guys are killers against each other.
I think that's where we're headed. I think that's 100% where we're headed.
I think for the sickos, I'd be here for it.
Yeah, I think, Omega, Takeshita is going to stretch, and I think Omega and Okada, they want in Dallas. It'll help move tickets. I think they could even announce it right after Double or Nothing. So,
well, that's the other part is it would behoove of them to not have a show in June, and then as soon as Double or Nothing's over, you can immediately start planning to your massive, quote unquote stadium show. It is a stadium. Stadium show all in. So I don't see why they wouldn't tackle that. Like you said, as soon as Double or Nothing's done. Now, I also found interesting, at least till now, there is no Face of the Revolution ladder match. Do you anticipate that being a thing?
No.
Now, do you see
you can't
casino battle royal thing happening at Double or Nothing? That'll still probably happen because they always have some sort of like number 1 contender match, but the Face of the Revolution ladder match had been there. I always just look for that next big match with multiple talents to get that opportunity. But I guess if you have Ricochet and Swerve, that's de facto number 1 contender match anyway. So you're not going to have that ladder match.
Yeah, I think I would be shocked if we, I think the Casino Gauntlet, maybe the Casino Battle Royal will happen at Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
But realistically, like there's a lot of tournaments. There's a lot of like guaranteed shots, face of the ladder match, blah, 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 blah. How did Christian end up with this contract, by the way? Where was that at?
That's a good question.
Was it Luchasaurus who gave it to him? Did he win it at World's End or something? Has he held it for that long?
I'm gonna do
no, because he cashed it in that night at World's End. So how did Christian get that contract? Because that's another event that, like, I want to say that took place, I don't know, last year, obviously, but I want to say it was like late last year.
Let's see here. Yeah, I wanted to say someone gave it to him, to be honest, but let's see.
Well, he wanted it all in. He won it in London.
So yeah, so he challenged Swerve at Double or Nothing. June 15 Collision, he declared he'd challenge for the world title again. But he would go for the trios title, what have you.
Where did he win it?
2 weeks later. Oh, later in the show, Cage won a Casino Gauntlet match to earn the right to challenge whenever he wants. At All Out, he tried to cash in, but it didn't work. So he's just
it was London. Yeah, it was London. Okay. All right. So
wow, that is a long ass time ago.
Right. Well, but it's smart because and you know what? Like, just like WWE, when someone's going to cash in, they kind of don't make reference of it. They kind of like leave it kind of lingering.
Except he brings it out every week.
He didn't have it. They haven't shown that contract. I think in like over 2 weeks, right? So.
Oh, I thought he had it last week. He just has it. He just shows it. Yeah. I don't know.
He hasn't. He hasn't had it. Yeah, he hasn't had an attempt.
No, he hasn't had an attempt, of course.
Yeah. So, or even like tried an attempt. So, in a very long time. So again, I just think there's a lot of those, win this match, you get a world title shot. So I think it would behoove them to, get rid of the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Did we have one last year?
Well, you don't like the big Sonic ring Cheerio being grasped fat? Come on. That's a great piece of memorabilia.
You combine two things, a Sonic ring and a Cheerio.
I think they look the same.
Yeah.
Golden Cheerio match.
Golden Cheerio match. Did they have a Face of the Revolution ladder match last year? Let's take a look, Ski.
I know they had Sting's final match. They had damn near everything happens at Revolution, I'm telling you.
They did not. They had an all-star scramble match. The winner receives a future AEW.
What the hell is that?
Well, Wardlow won it.
Oh,
so he received a future AEW World Heavyweight Championship. I think the last time they had the Face of a Revolution ladder match, maybe it was like 20. Let's check 2023. I don't think so.
All-star scramble match. That is wild.
No Face of the Revolution ladder match here either.
So they did 2023.
Yeah, they did away with it.
Huh. Wow. Why did I think it was more? Well, because they also had an Iron Man death match.
The last time was 2022, and the winner was Wardlow. So there you go.
Oh, well, that's why they couldn't do anything with it. So they were like, we can't have this match anymore.
All right.
Damn.
So,
well,
I just think there's a lot of like, if you win this, you get this. Like, let's clean it up a little bit.
Yeah, I know, and we talked about the title situation, about how many different ways, and hopefully they do combine the international and continental, so we can move forth from that. Do you think the trios titles are going to still stick around for a while? Because I think they will. When Adam Cole stops being singles Adam Cole and he's going in with Undisputed Kingdom, it's like maybe they're creating more teams.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people talking about this. I think it's unfortunate that we're getting an Adam Cole TNT title shot during Chamber. Like, I would have liked to have seen this on Dynamite. I would like to see this on any Collision, not going head to head with the Chamber. And truthfully, Collision was supposed to be taped at the venue they were at on Wednesday, but they moved that, I think, a month or maybe 2 months ago to making it a live show. And I get why, but realistically, like, timing's everything. And I know you're running a wrestling promotion and you got to do what you need to do. But for me, I would stop trying to go head to head with WWE PLEs. And I know, they'll say, well, we had our show first, but I mean, it's like, I don't give a shit. Just put it on Friday night. Who cares? And put it on after SmackDown. Make it a special Thursday Collision when the football season isn't on. You draw bigger numbers, in my opinion. Well,
they'd have to go head to head with us, Drew.
Oh boy. So yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. And did they have Collision first? But like, WWE had been running Saturday shows for a bit.
I don't know. I want to say Collision was first, and then it was WWE PLEs, but I have to look on Saturdays. I'd have to look.
Even so, WWE
gives a shit.
They could put a PLE whenever they want. Like, they could. Oh, you're gonna have a show on Sunday? Okay, we'll put it on Saturday. Like, they really WWE will only move their show days if the UFC is involved. If Collision's in the way, it's gonna get collided. So let's see.
Collided. That was funny, Juice. I like that.
I know you were very attentive to what I was talking about. That's why I said anything, because it didn't matter. You weren't going to hear it anyway.
I heard you. I was looking up your Face of the Revolution ladder match. So.
You were still on this?
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I think we've touched on pretty much anything and everything outside of the Chamber.
I want to quickly. I want to quickly touch on. WBD did their earnings call. This very early this morning. I was in a couple meetings, so I didn't get to listen to it live. Again, I said that there was no mention of AEW. That doesn't mean the sky's falling. It doesn't mean that they don't value AEW and their partnership. It just was very interesting to me that their media rights deal for Dynamite and Collision and the simulcasts and the streaming and everything else like that. AEW was a intricate part of that in Q4. Now, granted, the content did not come until Q1 of this year, but Q4, the media rights deal was signed. I find it very interesting that they didn't even mention All Elite Wrestling, Dynamite, Collision, whatever. To me, it was very weird. Very, very weird. Producer, if you could put that up. Oh, there it is. Chris Featherstone just reported that Drew McIntyre is winning the Chamber. Man, I will tell you, that would be an absolute. I just got a text. The Islanders just beat the Bruins too. That would be an absolute shock.
Well, I was going to touch on that, on who you think, because I put out a tweet of who will become corporate by the end of whatever, and Drew was a part of it, and I don't know if he was last, but he got some votes. So people think it could happen.
Yeah, that would be very, very interesting in terms of, if Drew wins it, then obviously he could give up his shot to The Rock, and then you could have Cody and The Rock at Mania. But I'm going to tell you this.
I'm sure fans would love that.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't believe that Drew McIntyre is winning the Chamber.
Well, didn't Jey Uso say he didn't even know he was going to win the Rumble until like day of? Like, things change anyway. Of course, Drew could be reported right now to win. Does that mean he's going to be reported to win tomorrow or Saturday at 6:55? Who the hell knows?
Yeah, everything I have been privy to would say that John Cena is winning, or John Cena and CM Punk are going to tie or something. But we'll get into that.
Oh man, I don't. Okay, yeah, we will get into that. I'd be floored if they could pull out, because you continuously have brought up the schmozzle finish that we could get at the Chamber, considering it's already a no DQ Elimination Chamber match. I don't know how, other than like a double pin, but even then, I think they'd likely be like, all right, not well. They could, I guess, they could just make it. Oh, you get a match and you get a match, or we're doing a triple threat thing. But to me, I feel like they'd say no. 5 more minutes. You have to continue. But I guess if they got both beaten down, maybe. But we'll talk about it.
They could. I think I'm looking at the odds here right now. John Cena is minus 1,300. So if this Featherstone character is accurate, Drew McIntyre is. Let me find out what the field is here. Drew McIntyre is plus 900. That's a hell of a payday.
Smash it, cash in.
So where is this guy? Sean, go DM Chris and tell him to put his money where his mouth is and put some money on Drew McIntyre because he's plus 900. Now, I'm not saying Chris doesn't have good information, but shit, if you know the winner right now, go bet. You want to know what was funny? The WWE betting odds, I remember the first time I ever saw them was at WrestleMania 30, and people were like, put money on Taker. It's a sure thing. I was like, I'm not going to bet on wrestling. And what happened? So,
yikes.
Ben
betting on wrestling. It's already
Ben
crazy,
asked,
so.
Yeah, Ben asked real quick, hey, Drew, I heard Max is coming to Australia. So, well, yes. So let's get back to that. I'm sorry. The plan for AEW and WBD and all that other stuff, like WWE is very focused on global expansion of Max and their streaming properties. So what that means for all you wrestling fans is that it seems as if AEW is a part of their streaming properties. I can't figure out which tier they're under right now. And I don't even think WBD knows that. But they're trying to establish more of a reach, and that's their goal. Just because AEW was not mentioned doesn't mean that they're not happy with them or anything else like that. What I will say is that if I'm AEW, I'd be like, hey, how come we weren't mentioned a little bit? Like we're, whatever. But it's a little bit different because a lot of people were like, WWE before was their own entity. They were publicly traded. Okay. AEW is not publicly traded. And now they're under TKO's umbrella, and it's a major part of the TKO umbrella. So they have to be talked about because their IP and everything else like that is very, very valuable. So, do I think it's great that AEW wasn't mentioned? No. Do I think a lot of people making excuses today about it? Yes. Do I think a lot of people were also in bad faith? Yes. Is it a big deal? Not really. Not really.
I like this rapid fire self-questionnaire that you're giving yourself, Drew.
Well, it's just, I saw so many people being like, bro, AEW didn't start on WBD until Q1 of 2025. Brother.
They've been on TNT the whole time.
AEW and TNT or WBD have been together since the inception of AEW.
They've been on these networks forever. The reason AEW got huge immediately was, oh, look, they got a spot on TNT. They've been with them since the beginning.
Not to mention the media rights deal was signed in Q4 of 2024. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Because maybe those people don't realize that you don't talk about the current quarter in the current quarter. You talk about the previous quarter.
Yeah, I like a lot of people. I can handle a lot of people, but the stupidity sometimes is at an all-time high. All-time high.
At an all-time high.
All right, we want to talk about the Chamber.
Hell yeah, let's do some Chamber.
Let's do it.
Preview, predictions, whatever you want to call it. We got 4 matches. Ooh, look at this neon. We're in the we should have the light going back and forth, and then we figure out who can talk next.
We're in the We're in the Chamber zone.
Oh,
see, if you zoom out, look at your produced. See how you, but we're not. Can we go back to the other? I like the other view better.
Drew doesn't like showing off his nice background. Meanwhile, I just have my ceiling.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. There it is. There she is. All right, go ahead. That was always fun when they would drop the cage or whatever, and they'd have that ominous sounds.
I love that. Yeah, they don't really do that much anymore at all. They have the music while the pods are being selected, but that's really it. But Elimination Chamber, 4 matches, yet dare I say the Rock Cody segment could easily take up enough time to be a match. But so we'll definitely have.
Stop right there, though, Juice. Stop right there. The format of this show will be very, very important. I said that on our spaces, but the format of this
hell
show,
of a space, by the way.
Yeah,
Friday night was wonderful.
That's a little more relaxed, a little more like it's just the wild, wild west than that. But I will say that the format of this show will be very important to how things play out. If the Rock Cody segment leads off the show, look out for that chamber. If the men's chambers first and the Rock Cody match or segment is after that, look out. I mean, there's just
okay. If the men's chamber's not the main event, the only other match that I could see main eventing is Sammy and KO, right? Because it's in Toronto. I don't see the women's one main eventing.
No, I think Sam's not. I think Sammy and KO open, and then they'll do the chambers after that. But if you're talking about formatting in time, like I do believe the women could open because they want
you bookend it like the Rumble.
Yeah, you bookend the chambers, but for me, I think again they're going to want to allot a certain amount of time for each chamber. So the only way you could, I guess, safely do it without having to cut things is start and close. So that's probably what they'll do.
I would do women's chamber, Sammy and KO, Cody Rock segment, then Tiffany and Trish Stratus. Because that match, even if it doesn't have as much fanfare, you get a legend and one of the world champions tag teaming in Toronto. They're going to love it anyway. So it's a little bit of a lightener before you get to the men's main event. So that's how I would. Yeah, whatever. That'd be what you got to put in your beard if it gets too dark. A little lightener.
Little shoe polish. 4 matches in a segment. Do I think we get a 5th? Possibly. We'll have to wait and see.
I don't think so. I think this is it.
Wait and see.
Well, because the chamber, just like the Rumble, they're going to be long ass matches. Like they have no problem.
All right, hold on.
Putting 40 plus minutes into these.
Yeah, let's see how much long the average. 36, 32. So they're just under 40 each.
I would say a lot. 40 minutes to each one. That's 80 minutes. Yeah. The Rock Cody segment, what, 20, 25 minutes?
Yeah, I could see a pre-show match for the
maybe that too.
So we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, let's talk about what's on this card.
Yeah.
And what's on this card is we're going to talk about Rock Cody kind of last. But
we'll do that before the men's chamber.
Let's talk about Tiff and Trish taking on Nia Jax and Candice, right? Trish. I love me some Trish. Big fan.
Well, they've been saying Tiffy time and Trishy time. Is there any other way to do it? Any other way to say a funnier, cooler pun for them? Because their initials are both the same. You'd think they'd come up with something, but maybe they have something by Saturday. I don't know.
Tiff and Strish. No, it doesn't work.
Tiff and Strish?
Tiff and Trish. Nah, that's kind of
Stratton faction. They're literally the same. Trish, Tiffany, Stratton, Stratus. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, Tiff and Trish, I think, will get the victory over Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. The stuff with Trish on social media when she called Nia Jax a huge bitch was crazy. So,
speaking of, I think that's the main key of this match is to have Tiffany Stratton take out Nia Jax and put herself over as a really dominant champion so that it's not as obvious that Charlotte could win at WrestleMania. Because to me, I don't know. To me, Tiffany should win at WrestleMania against Charlotte. You're the champion going in. You defeat arguably the greatest women's wrestler of all time and elevate your momentum. But at the same time, Charlotte's back. She wins the Rumble. Charlotte goes over. She's the best. That makes sense. And I don't think Tiffany would be hurt by her losing to Charlotte. So if that happens, give Tiffany the moment here with a win with Trish in Toronto. Taking out Nia Jax. I feel bad for Candice LeRae being the odd woman out of this, to be honest.
I think Candice LeRae is there to eat the pinfall.
Oh, really? Because I think it'd be more impressive for Tiffany to pin Nia. Because Nia is a more dominant competitor than Candice.
I'm gonna go with Tiff and Trish beating Nia and Candice, and I think Trish could pin Nia, but I'm gonna go with I'm going to go with Trish pinning Candice LeRae. That's what I got.
Maybe Tiffany hits the move on Nia or hits a moonsault on her, but Trish probably gets the pin because it's in Toronto.
Trish and Nia could have a match at Mania too, singles. So
you think that could happen?
Could happen.
Right here. Say it right now. Pin it.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
Cue the frog.
Possible. Cue the frog. No, don't cue the frog.
Don't cue the frog.
I think it's very possible, yes.
But do you agree that this is pretty much a vehicle just to get Tiffany more momentum?
Sure.
Because even as champion, you're going against a daunting challenger in Charlotte
Don't
Flair.
forget,
you have to build up your equity.
Yeah, I think Charlotte will be on commentary. When that happens, you can cue the frog. So I think Charlotte's on commentary, and I think she could cost Tiff the match too. So it's very interesting. But I think the momentum, I think we could see Trish and Tiff get the victory here. But if Charlotte's on commentary, watch out.
Well, she should watch out. And this has been brought up, so I want to acknowledge this. Does Jade return to the Women's Chamber? Let's talk about the Women's Chamber. Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Naomi, Roxanne, Perez. Process of elimination works here to an extent, but without knowledge of Jade, who knows what's going to happen? It doesn't seem like Bianca and Naomi are out of the woods in regards to if they did it. But it's tough for me to see at least Bianca being a heel. So I don't know where that's all going to lead. I don't think Liv's going to win. I'd like to see Roxanne win, but I have actually been leaning towards Alexa Bliss winning this match.
I think none of the women are winning this match in the chamber. I think Jade does return. I think there's a big spot for Jade in this match. This will be clipped, I'm sure, or it'll be friggin' stolen. But
what do you mean?
Yeah, right. I think Jade, there's a big spot for Jade here. I think Jade breaks through a pod or somehow, some way breaks a piece of the chamber. Like they could have it rigged to show her strength and everything else like that. And
whoa. Now she could just break it on her own, Drew. Don't peel back the curtain, final boss.
And I think that she goes right after Bianca, and it's revealed that Bianca is the attack, drags her ass out of the chamber, but then the chamber's open. And I believe that somebody either could be, there's some way, somehow, I don't want to say too much because I don't know how we get there. And then I also don't want to put something out there and then it absolutely happens. And there's someone's going to be, this guy's in the know. I'm not. I'm just telling you that I believe that Becky Lynch is winning the Elimination Chamber in Toronto. I don't know how she gets in. Could Jordynne Grace take out Roxanne Perez and Becky Lynch takes her place? Yes, I believe that could happen too. But I believe that Becky will return and win this chamber, and we get 2 matches made for WrestleMania. We get Bianca and Jade, and we're going to get Becky and Rhea. That's what I think is going to happen.
Where does that leave Naomi, though? Because it's been weird that Naomi's been added in, and now she'll be left out.
I think, unfortunately for Naomi's going to be, playing the role of whose side are you on? That type of stuff. So,
well, whose side is she on? What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, right. So, I think that's happening. I think Bianca is turning heel. I think it's
really? I know that's what would have to happen, but I still can't get Cody. I can believe he'll be a heel at some point. I can't get to that Bianca turning heel just yet because she's such a merch mover and ambassador and
I get
top of her game.
But I'm going to tell you this right now. You know who's laying low is the Street Profits, and Bianca and the Street Profits. There's a lot there already. They can 100% roll into a faction together. I think Bianca's going to be this badass heel, and I think it's necessary.
Okay. Man, Becky Lynch wins a chamber that she's not even in, a la Lesnar winning Money in the Bank by just coming out and taking the case. I would be pretty, I'd be shocked and chagrined. So I don't know. That's very interesting prediction. And you would have heard it here first. Maybe not last, because I'm sure it'll be clipped, stolen tomorrow and the next day, and leading up to chamber. And the day after that. Yeah. Saturday night after the show, blank. Hey, I said that, I don't know. I think Drew said it first. You heard it here on Drew and Juice.
Yep. You heard it here first. It'll be clipped, shot, taken, beaten. Somebody will claim it as their own. That's what's going to happen.
It won't credit you.
Nope. It's all right.
That'd be the thing. Wouldn't it be just better to say that they said it, but also say, well, I also heard it from this guy first? Is that really the worst thing in the world to credit you?
Somebody just texted me and said, Jeff Hardy, I hope he's okay. So whoever's watching TNA, let me know.
God.
I don't know what happened. So I hope, somebody needs to let me know, I guess.
Oh, Bully Ray said that. Yeah.
Bully Ray did not text me. I can promise you that.
No, Bully Ray just tweeted the same thing. I hope Jeff's okay.
So a close friend of mine said, let's not forget, Edge wasn't advertised for the Chamber match, took out Kofi and went on to win.
Yep. You know what? That's also true. And that was a long ass time ago too. That's pretty crazy to think that.
Moose versus Jeff Hardy for the TNA Championship at Sacrifice.
Huh. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Whoever is in the know with this, like what's going on with Jeff, let me know.
Let us know, please. Because it just seems, I don't know. Bully Ray said it, but I don't know if it's like.
I could text this person back right now.
Yeah, let's do that thing where you lie to everybody. That's a Seinfeld quote. Don't take it personal.
What is that? Oh, I don't.
No, it's just like you're like, I'm going to go reach out. I'm going to go do something to get something. And George is like, I can get you a Yankee like for the pledge drive. And Jerry's like, yeah, go do that thing where you lie to everybody.
Oh, got it.
Like whatever it takes to get whatever you need, I got.
All right.
So
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying with process elimination, you said, Liv and Raquel, who are the tag team champions. Can't believe that came to fruition. So who knows?
Just saying.
Yeah. So we'll see if Io is unsuccessful against Rhea and Asuka does indeed come back. Boom. Then you get exactly what the frog was queued for. So I'd be interested in that. Yeah, Bianca and Naomi, even if Naomi's not a part of the future of it, I take out both of them in regards to they'll be involved with Jade. Roxanne could be against Jordan Grace, could have something with Bayley down the line. Who knows? So, and then Bayley, I don't see winning either. So to me, it is Alexa Bliss or, out of the two, Naomi or Bianca, it'd be Bianca. But if Becky's the one that comes out of there and is not even in the match, then that's all I can say is the people that are predicted. I'm not going to go out on that limb. You can be on that branch alone. I'd be thrilled and I'd stand by it if it happens. So more power to you, Drew. So we find out what happened to Jeff Hardy yet?
Nope, nothing yet.
Was it taped?
I don't know.
Or is it live? Because that's also different.
I don't know. This might be somebody drawing conclusions who texted me because I guess Matt Hardy's having like a tag match without Jeff, but Jeff's in a ladder match, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just Bully saying it made it seem like it was something that happened. So I don't know what the hell's going on.
I don't know what the context of this text is too. Maybe that person read Bully's.
It was like the exact same. Verbiage.
Maybe that's what it is. So I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Go ahead.
Let's go into a match that I could see it main eventing, but it's probably not going to. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, unsanctioned in Toronto. These two guys, destined to do it forever. I know a lot of people are like, what about the Mania match? Okay, they've had a Mania match one-on-one. They've won the tag titles together in the main event of WrestleMania. They're
two different characters right now, too.
Yeah, and they're good with what they've done at WrestleMania to where this match in their home country against each other, I think, is worth a ton where they're at in their careers. And, the Randy Orton factor, of course, is looming large as well. I'm not sure if Sammy gets the win but gets beaten down and Orton comes out to make the save, or because it's unsanctioned, you just get Orton in this match to take out KO. But I tend to believe Sammy gets the win here. That being said, if the same thing happens in this match that it did at the NXT show back when KO won the NXT title by powerbombing Sami Zayn into oblivion and the ref had to stop it, I could see something like that happening as well. But What do you think is going to go on in this unsanctioned match? And no, apron bump, not uncensored.
It seems as if I just want to update some people. It seems as if the TNA stuff was taped, so I don't think it's live. And Jeff wrestled on Tuesday. So
okay,
I think all is well.
So,
anyways,
good.
The stuff with KO and Sammy, a lot of people complaining about it, right, Juice? And realistically, I mean, they're two different characters at this point in their lives. They added a lot more to this feud. I thought to myself, I don't know if I could really get back into this, and I'm fully into it. When Kevin hit the package pile driver and then everything that went on after this, Sammy's kind of like this different man. He went to his house after Kevin went to his house and blah, 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 blah. Kevin Owens is a stud. He's doing some of the best work of his career and has for the past 2 to 3 years. Kevin's on a different level. But I'm going to tell you, this match is going to be great, and I believe this is a vehicle to get Randy Orton to return, which I think happens at Chamber, and I think he costs KO, and we get KO and Randy at WrestleMania, which I've been saying for, I don't know, 3 months now, 2 months now. So.
Find the tweet, but that lends itself
don't cue the frog.
Well, no. But where do you see Sami Zayn going towards WrestleMania after this? Some
Good question.
Speculated it could be a Seth Rollins thing, considering Seth seems to have a problem with anybody that dealt with the bloodline, and Sammy's, pretty high up on that list. So what are your thoughts?
I think that's a really good guess. I think, Seth, Sammy could work if Seth is not doing something with CM Punk. So yeah.
And it'd be a fresh match. I don't think we've seen that, have we?
Yeah, I don't think so. And you could get Karrion Kross versus Sammy. That seems like a Raw match to me, but it could be at Mania just because they're giving Sammy and KO of really, they're a focal point of this Chamber show.
Oh, they're going to have a lot of heat for sure. Mm-hmm.
It's a big
maybe
match.
Not as much heat as the main event, but still, both these guys with the history that they've had, the matches they've had, the wars they've had, every company possible they've wrestled in against each other, with each other, and it's not like this is going to be the end all be all, but this is a pretty high bar for them to be in Toronto. No rules, huge show, so close to WrestleMania. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm a fan of both guys, have been for a while. And I know they're going to tear the house down. So looking very forward to KO and Sammy unsanctioned.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely. Let's dive into it. We're going to talk about the segment, and it's going to bleed into the main event. So who knows when this will happen. I agree with you, though, Drew. The laying out of where the segment is and where all these matches
the formatting is going to be important.
The format for this show is going to be very interesting, and I'm sure we'll see it, mid of the day, Saturday, and maybe you'll have such information. Who knows? At Andrew Badala, shout out Drew. But I think this probably takes place earlier enough in the card to where you get people really, really thinking and have their juices flowing about what it could mean towards the main event. So I just ask you, what is Cody's answer to the final boss?
Oh, I mean, Cody's not turning heel. Neither is John Cena. You can miss me with both of them. They are, it's like, and Jey Uso. Like, those are the 3 top merch sellers in WWE right now. Cody was, I believe Jey just took over Cody at the Rumble. And then, I believe it was Cody after that. And it's going to be Cody continuously all the way through, even at Mania. They're not going to turn Cody or John Cena heel before their biggest event of the year, where they're going to generate the most revenue off merch and everything else like that. It's just not happening. So Cody's going to tell Rock.
And potentially have that match one-on-one against each other. If Cody and Cena are going to have a match, more than likely it's going to be face versus face, because I think that sells better.
Yeah.
Because it's who do you cheer for?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like John wants 17. Cody wants to continue his year-long reign and just beat everybody. And, that's what it is. You don't need to make John a bad guy. You don't need to make Cody a bad guy. They're not going to do it because they're not going to turn away the dollars. If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make dollars. So what I will say there is John's not turning. Cody's not turning. Cody's going to tell The Rock to kick rocks, and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
How long do you have that one in the chamber?
I think, no pun intended. I think the interesting thing is, does somebody save Cody from the beatdown, or do we just get an absolute beatdown of Cody and they go Cody Rock at Mania? That's why the format of this whole thing is very, very interesting. And if you get this to kick off the show, watch out for Chamber. Drew could win it and then hand it to The Rock, because The Rock has been very complimentary of Drew, but I would hate that. I'd hate it.
Complimentary. And remember, Drew was just hanging out, eating dinner, and they handed him that contract to be like, hey, you're on board here. We're going with you. And you can easily play that up. And for a guy that's
The Rock's guy,
how many missteps and missed opportunities and title opportunities and had the title taken away from him, it made all those things. Why would you need to be corporate and say, you know what? Nothing has worked for me thus far. I'm selling my soul. You want it, and you can have it.
And that's the thing. Hey, Rock, I'll give you this opportunity because I can't stand Cody Rhodes either. Just make sure I get my comeuppance and make sure I get another championship opportunity. Say, I don't know, Backlash, SummerSlam, wherever. And Rock will do it because he's on the board. He could do that. So, I mean, to Featherstone's prediction, he said he was told. Chris, I don't hate it, but I'm going to tell you this right now. I do believe that things change often as we get closer and closer. So yeah,
rapidly.
So, but you know what? Chris needs to create content, and it seems like he's had some good stuff before this. So we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, you never know, but I'm intrigued by honestly anything that happens. If Roman wants to insert himself and block this from happening, that's an easy vehicle to get Rock Roman, because it's like, I wanted Cody as my champion, and now you're stepping in. You speared me at WrestleMania. You lost your title last year. I pinned Cody last year in the tag match. You have no say. So if Roman cuts in, I can easily see, okay, boom, there's your Rock Roman match. And then it's whoever wins the chamber, and it's just a straight up one-on-one between them and Cody. So I think you could, that seems almost as simple as it can be, is Roman intervening there. But I mean, do you see that as a possibility, or would you dare say it's he has to show up then? Because if Roman doesn't show up at Chamber,
well, Roman's been advertised for the SmackDown show. So if they're going Roman Seth's not on SmackDown. Now I know that could change, blah blah blah. It's WrestleMania season, but I mean, the smart money tells you two things, right? First, and it's the obvious: Cody and Roman not happening. Cody and Rock could be happening, because why would they have all this involvement? Could they save it? Sure. I believe that The Rock's openness to working WrestleMania, and I have stated this for the better part of since June, but it got ramped up very much in January when everyone said he wasn't. When I found out that his filming schedule was going to be opened, it seems as if The Rock was more on board to actually wrestling at WrestleMania. So the two obvious, Rock Roman. Does it happen at WrestleMania? I believe it does. Could we go to the other obvious, Rock Cody? I believe we could too, but my only thing is that if Rock is going to get one of these things out of the way, because you never know what could happen in a match. If it does, things change with the Fast 11 or Fast X Part 2, whatever the hell they're calling it, and Rock needs to go film, he's only going to be guaranteed this WrestleMania match. So I don't know if they waste, and I'm not saying this lightly. I'm just saying I don't know if they use the match on Cody, because Rock's not in the chamber. It'd be convoluted at best. And I think that they could just make Roman make the save for Cody after he's getting beat down. Because remember, The Rock looked at Cody and Roman at Bad Blood and was like, he did the cutting of the throat and stuff like that. So Roman returning to save Cody because The Rock beat him down and wanted him to be his corporate guy does make a lot of sense, because The Rock and Roman, although they had a small interaction at the Netflix debut, it wasn't really like they weren't buddy. They walked out together, but they weren't like arm in arm or anything else like that. So I don't know. I think this is a very good chance that Roman does return. In what capacity? I don't know. Could he screw Seth? Sure. It's WrestleMania season, but Roman's only advertised for SmackDown. So
I think The Rock was signaling for Arn Anderson when he was doing the throat slash. So therefore, Arn Anderson's with Cody. Rock's going after Cody. But no, I agree with you with the movie stuff. It would be a waste to have that Cody Rock match as the one match. If Rock's going to do one match, whether it's this year or any time between now and the movie,
got to be the Roman match, right?
It's going to be the Roman match, because it's the one that you could have had last year. They pushed that off. they know that it's they know how guaranteed money this match is. Like with Cody, people will bitch about like if it's Rock Roman, people 1,000% want it. They're all in on it. So like if that's the only opportunity, let's do it. So I think you're dead on. I think it's going to happen. We'll see.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people want the Rock Roman match. A lot of people want the Rock Cody match, but realistically, you got to figure out. Listen, Rock Cody would sell a bunch of tickets, but WrestleMania right now, is about. I'd have to look. I want to say they're about 10,000 short, 5,000 each night of their capacity, and that's a problem. They'll sell it out. But, you'd want to have this pretty much well sold by now. We're getting into March. No announced matches besides the obvious two. So it'll be interesting. WWE's going to do great business this weekend in Toronto. They're going to get close to 35,000 at the Rogers Center. I still call it the Sky Dome, but at the Rogers Center. And that's a big get for the Chamber. The Chamber is not SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, or Mania. Like this is, a show that did well in Perth. But, years before
did well in Montreal too.
Yeah. But that was like what, 20,000? This is an extra, 15, 16,000 people. So again, doing big business, but I'm going to check the manifest here for WrestleMania. And I want to say that I would say they're not where they want to be and they're not pleased, but they will sell it out. There's no doubt about that. Let me just double check. But I think Rock Roman has to happen at WrestleMania. That's just
so let's just say it is what it is. Roman interrupts. You get Roman and Rock. So that leaves Cody. Who do you have winning the Elimination Chamber match for the men? Cena, Punk, Drew, Logan Paul, Damian Priest, or Seth freaking Rollins?
I have John Cena winning the Rumble or the Chamber. If this is just where we're at, if we have Roman interrupting, I think Cena wins. If Cody just gets beat down and the Rock, claims he's coming for Cody's ass, then I think all bets are off. That's why I think the Chamber match. Go ahead.
Could you imagine Becky finds a way to insert herself into the Chamber, not being announced, and The Rock puts himself in
That's why I'm saying I can't see it. I don't think The Rock wrestles at Chamber. I don't see that at all.
Yeah. No, let's waste his one big match at Chamber.
So they're 8,000 short each night.
Which,
that's 16,000 tickets.
That's quite a bit for WrestleMania this close. And they got time. And again, once more matches if it's March 2nd and we know Cena versus Cody.
7 and 8. 7 and 8. So, I mean, we're whatever, close enough.
As soon as the show ends and if everything we were just talking about comes to fruition and it's Cena and Cody and Rock and Roman, I think those tickets are going to be flying. Once we get things solidified, that's where people are going to want to really nail down getting tickets because those are huge. Both of those are huge marquee matches fit for WrestleMania, and it's in Vegas. I'll go all in, for lack of a better term.
I totally agree with you. I think that once you announce The Rock is going to wrestle, I think you could sell 16,000 tickets easy. Especially with Cena, if you get Cena Cody, that'll move a bunch of tickets too.
Cena's final WrestleMania match against the guy who is, the current best over babyface. Like it's looking yourself in the mirror. And Rock and Roman, now how many more WrestleMania matches or matches at all Rock has, and it's against Roman, who the history is there. Rumble 15 comes to mind. And then last year at WrestleMania, of course, comes to mind. All those pieces they could really, really build that match up into a huge spectacle, even though they don't have to. Just saying Rock and Roman, huge deal, but there's so much there.
No, if somebody's asking me, gun to my head, I think Cena wins, and I think we get Rock Roman. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But again, the format will be interesting. I'm sure Sapp and others will have it. That could obviously change, but I'm just saying that'll be very telling on what they're doing.
So you don't see any so you think Cena, that there's no chance it could be CM Punk. I think at least it'd be Punk Cena as the final two. I could go that far.
For sure. I could see the final three being Punk, Rollins, and Cena. I think Punk's favor is interesting. When does he cash that in? Well, if for some reason John Cena, and I want to state this, John Cena does win and Punk wants to cash in his favor, then he could be inserted to be a triple threat. And that's a way
to see that.
That's a way to have Cody lose the championship to either John or Punk and maybe not get pinned. And it's also a way to have John continue to chase 17 if for some reason he doesn't win it at WrestleMania.
And imagine Cody losing the title and it's to either guy of Punk Cena. Then you potentially get a Cena Punk world title match in 2025. That's all I want is a Cena Punk huge match, marquee match before it's all said and done, because they had, and it's 2 days ago was the anniversary of their arguably one of the greatest matches in Raw history. #1 contender for WrestleMania 29. Punk hits the pile driver. It was just a wild, wild match. And I man, to see them one-on-one just one more time with the stakes being the WWE title would be insane. So I'm here for that.
And I think there could be a triple threat where, that happens. Or it could be something where, Punk says, hey, I need my favor. Me versus John, night 1, winner gets Cody, night 2.
I think you said that before.
Yeah.
But before anybody else.
Well, fine. That happens. I just don't like when people claim it as original. You just say you heard it from somebody. I don't even need credit. Just say you heard it. But yeah, I think that's a way, and it's a way to, I'm not convinced at this moment that WWE wants the chase for 17 to end at WrestleMania. I think they see a lot of dollar bucks. That's for all you Bluey fans out there, your dads and moms who watch that show, with your kids, because you're good parents. I think that they'll see it. There's a lot of dollars to be made with John chasing that throughout the summer if they decide to go that route.
Yeah, I mean, he could challenge and win at SummerSlam. He could maybe win Money in the Bank and have that opportunity to make good after winning the Money in the Bank in 2012 and losing at Raw 1000 when CM Punk and The Rock were involved. Like, it's really cool how things just come back around somehow, some way. All these guys are prominently featured in the road to WrestleMania 13, 14 years later. It's insane.
It is. It is insane. And, history repeats itself. So,
and I'm also here for, I know you said it, where you could get, and damn, if they do it too, on New Year's Eve, a Wednesday night PLE, last night of 2025, Cena either
I'm telling you that's happening.
Cena either wins the title and retires as champion. And then hell, how about that? He could win the title, retire as champion, and then the world title will be on the line in the Royal Rumble.
I don't hate that. But what I will tell you is that I believe John Cena's retirement match will be against Orton.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Give me that.
100%.
Great rivalry. And if they have a match with Punk, if they can get both a Punk match and an Orton match, that'd be fine. You're not going to get an Edge match, unfortunately. So I'll take what we can get.
Yeah, I think John and Randy have John's last match, his retirement match.
That'd be great.
And I think they make a whole spectacle about it on New Year's Eve,
which just so happens to be on a Wednesday. When we talked about Collision going up against PLEs, but what about
Tony? If you're watching this
final match on Wednesday night,
Tony, if you're watching this, have Dynamite on Tuesday. All right, okay.
December 30th, New Year's Day.
You could
do that. Make a special little deal there. Why not?
I would do it. New Year's Day live from Jacksonville.
That'd be fun. A little like before all the bowl games and such.
Yeah.
Noon.
You could.
Little afternoon.
Or you could do it that Tuesday.
You could do Tuesday. Yeah, and run it on Monday night. Nothing's happening on Monday night. Oh, brother.
Good luck.
Yeah, so ultimately, I would tend to agree. I think Cena probably wins. I like to see everything happen like I've said a long time ago with AEW and how they book things. Like, sometimes the simple option is the best option. Like when Sting came in, it's like, oh, Darby Allin's a guy with face paint. He's mysterious. Wouldn't that be fun to just pair those two? And they did.
Yeah,
and it was wonderful. And
Darby
it led to the
Darby
end.
Needed it,
right. And it led all the way to Sting's retirement. Sometimes the easiest option is the way to go. So I'm here for Roman interrupting The Rock, setting up Roman Rock. Again, then Cena wins the chamber. You get Cena and Cody. Who knows what Punk does? Maybe he goes against Seth. Maybe he goes against Logan Paul. There's a lot of moving pieces. Who knows? And I've said this too. I don't think it's a bad thing if Punk, last year he could have easily had a WrestleMania match. He should have, but he got injured. So this is let Punk get a Mania match in. Then maybe next year he gets that main event. As long as he's healthy and willing to work, I don't see why he can't get it some other time. It just so happens that Cena is retiring this year, so Cena's probably going to get it. Otherwise, Punk would probably get it. But Punk probably sees that and understands it. So
I think Punk is. I think Punk obviously wants his WrestleMania main event, but I don't think he's going to sit there and lose his mind if for some reason he doesn't get it.
I think he's patient and realizes, and they probably told him look, as long as things go well here, it's absolutely in the cards for you. Just do what you're doing and kill it, and you're doing a wonderful job. Nothing's gone wrong yet. You got injured maybe, but that's outside of that, everything's been smooth, and you're selling merch and everything's working, and I don't see why not. So looking forward to Chamber. It should be a fun show. 7:00 start time on the East Coast, so not your early 6:00 time, not your crazy 5:30 in the morning for Australia. So a pretty normal Saturday night. So I'm looking forward to sitting in and grabbing a brew or two and watching this thing.
There you go. Me too. Can't wait.
Yeah. And then the following week we got Revolution on Sunday night. So love that.
Another good event. Another great pay-per-view that looks like it's completely loaded from AEW, and I'm here for it. Big wrestling coming up, in terms of, like you said, content-wise, they're all over the place. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been a great time to be a wrestling fan around this time of year. But now with AEW being a company that runs pay-per-views pretty, week to week, it's right after, it's amazing. And then you're right into WrestleMania season. It doesn't get much better than February, March, April here.
No, and Chamber being late, Rumble being late, I dig it. And WrestleMania being a little later gives them a lot of time. A lot of people were like, oh man, how are they going to get all this in? How's Rock going to work? And Rock, he needs what? 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm sure. Did you see how great he looked at Mania last year? I think he'll be fine training for this match.
I would tend to agree with you, but you never know with people, right? So.
Right. And he also worked, what was it, a 40-minute match, that tag match on night one? I think he's fine to work a one-on-one with Roman. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he could absolutely work a match with Roman and be just fine.
Yeah. So, looking forward to it. I think that's pretty much all we've got on the docket today. We've been pretty accurate on anywhere from an hour 45 to 2 hours every week, but it's been concise. I don't think outside of the audio snafu earlier, but it has not happened since. So whatever happened is fine now. And as long as the listeners and viewers can hear and see us, I don't think it's too big of an issue.
I would say that's important. I want to thank everybody for joining us. We consistently get, over 1,000 views weekly. So I appreciate that. We're eyeballing 10,000 views. We're sitting at 8 episodes. So I appreciate that immensely. I'm sure Juice does as well.
Oh, for sure. It's been great. I love this.
Yeah. Interesting time in the wrestling business. Chamber should be interesting. Revolution should be interesting. So I'm happy that we have the stuff we have to cover. Again, formatting is going to be key for the Chamber. Make sure you pay attention to it. I think we touched on pretty much everything we needed to touch on. TKO,
so too. Yeah.
Doing boxing, 3 PLEs in Saudi happening, 1 PLE in 2025 happening. Follow the money, follow the executives.
Follow the executives. NXT, Dynamite. We talked about Lex Luger, Hall of Fame. We talked about Liquid Death. We went all over the place today, as we normally do every week here on Drew and Juice.
We did. I appreciate all the love and support. Keep it locked to my socials. Keep it locked to Juice's socials. They're all here. That's my ex. That's his ex. We might have something planned for after the Chamber. Depends on what's going on here. If everyone's available, I'll work something out. Again, I want to thank WWE for inviting me to Toronto. I appreciate that. We'll make it work next time in terms of another PLE. And I appreciate it. I will see you in Philadelphia for Dynasty. I can confirm that I'll be there covering the event as well. Not going to be in LA for Revolution. I have some work that unfortunately pulled me away from that event, but I look forward to it. And thank you to AEW for media me for that as well. Juice, this was fun. I want something from you in regards to the chamber. We obviously, both are under the impression that John Cena and or CM Punk is your probable winner. Let's just say you can't pick either of them. Who's your pick in the men's?
So without Cena and no Punk, who would I pick?
Yeah.
I don't hate Drew McIntyre. I think it'd be interesting. I think it would be maybe, I don't know if it was as cut and dry as him just handing it over to The Rock, but that would be very Drew McIntyre to screw CM Punk over again, and of all people to team up with, Drew teaming with like The Rock on that would really piss Punk off more. I just don't see Priest doing it. I don't see Logan Paul winning. Seth, he's been in the title picture so much over the last 2 or 3 years. I think he needs to just like take a step back and, he could have a match with Sami Zayn. He could have a match with maybe Logan Paul. There's a lot of options outside of the title picture for Seth. So outside of Punk and Cena, or I'm sure you'll come up with someone that's not even in the damn match to win the whole thing. I think Drew would be a fun choice.
I'm gonna go with my own question. I'm gonna answer it myself. I'm gonna go with Seth.
Sure.
I think Seth could be the Rock's corporate champion. And I know people like, we just saw that with Triple H and Stephanie and all that other stuff. But Seth hated.
We just saw that. That was like 10 years ago.
But Seth hated The Rock.
Yeah,
hated The Rock, and this would be a great opportunity for him to turn heel. And I don't think a lot of people would see this one coming. So if we're not going Cena, we're not going Punk, I'm going with Seth Rollins is The Rock's corporate champion.
And it would also be funny because what's been consistent was Seth turning on Roman, screwing over Roman. And if aligning with The Rock also helps screw over Roman, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. Authority, Seth Rollins, corporate Rollins. I'm here for it.
Me as well. All right. It's been fun. Thank you, Juice. Make sure you follow Juice. He's at Juicy Steen. I'm at Andrew Baydala.
Thank you, Drew.
Yeah. Always fun. Always a good time. This was episode 8. I hope you guys and girls enjoyed it. Keep it locked to our socials. I want to thank Final Bell Media. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow their YouTube page. Hit the bells for notifications so that when we go live, you will know. Keep it locked on my socials and Juice's social and some others. We might have something in the chamber for Elimination Chamber in regards to a post show. So thank you to Catherine. Thank you to Willie. Thank you to Sean. Thank you to Ben. Thank you to Corey. Thank you to Tay. His picks for the chamber are Cena and Bianca. Not bad.
I'd still like to see Bianca and Rhea. Like, if it's just plain as day, that's a match I've wanted to see. And if they don't advance the Jade thing at Chamber, give me Bianca and Rhea then, because that's a huge match.
Yeah.
So
I hear you. Thank you to Apron Bump, Kyle.
Yep.
Thank you to Josh. Thank you to Josh Lopez. Yeah. Thank you to Ben. Thank you to everybody. It's always a pleasure. Thank you to Frank. Good seeing everybody in here, and we look forward to doing this again. We'll see you next week for sure on Thursday for another Drew and Juice episode 9. And we'll probably preview Revolution. I think that's probably prevalent. So we'll do that. So thank you guys and girls, and we'll catch you maybe sooner rather than later this week. Thanks. See you, Juice.
Bye, Drew.